Okay, what I'd like to show you here is some work I've done on this Rossi Ranch Hand. I'll kind of give you an idea of what I've done here, because there's a lot of people who have these rifles know they're very rough, the action is very tough. So I've taken the whole thing apart, and I'm going to want to smooth out the action a little bit. Now, I'm going to start this off by saying that I'm not a professional gunsmith, so don't take this as gospel. I'm just a regular guy trying to do the best he can, and just going on the principle that the parts are made kind of rough. They got tool marks on them and stuff like that, and I can probably smooth them out as long as I'm careful. What I've done is, since I'm not that experienced at it, I've been careful to kind of be conservative on the stoning of surfaces. But what I've used is a Lansky knife sharpening kit. It has 3 grades of stone right down to a very fine stone, and I've used each of these in progression on these parts, and applying a little bit of oil on them to keep the grit floating around, and just try to attack the surfaces that look like they could use it, because the gun is definitely very, very rough, even to put it together. So initially it's looking like it's going to work out okay, but we shall see once I get it back together. Now, one of the areas that I took a bit of work on was the lever here. These, you can see again, I've been conservative on my stone work, because there are still high spots on it, but the high spots are less high, and there's more flat surface as a result of stoning it. So basically I've been taking this and just rubbing it on there, nice flat stone, and then progressing down to the smooth stone. And I've done that on both sides. You can kind of see where I've done the stone work, and anywhere where I could see there's some contact, even on the hammer here, you can see that it was a little bit shiny there, so there was contact with the steel there. I took care of that. Even in the action, I took a little stone that I got from a Dremel kit, very lightly. That's the only thing I could get in there. It's down this channel here. It was very rough. Down in there, got a little stone in there, smooth that a bit conservatively, even fitting it in here in these little channels here, just very lightly working that, just to see, just in case there was any burrs or something like that. That was just some light work. Also with the trigger assembly, as that goes in, did a little. Now this trigger assembly was very, very tight getting back into the receiver of the rifle, so that's one of the reasons I did this too. And I have test fitted it back together, and it goes into the receiver with a lot less effort now. So hopefully that's doing some good. I also took out the cartridge stop, and that cartridge stop is still going to be a little bit of a problem, I think. It's got a spring behind it that keeps it sprung out, and then when the bolt closes, it should close, but it's supposed to push out like that and then flatten out like that when the bolt closes, and it's not really going back far enough. So maybe this thing is bent. I don't know. I might have to order a replacement part. This rifle's had probably a good 600-700 rounds through it, maybe even more, and it's possible something like that might have got bent. So anyways, I also went to work on these two halves that slide up. They slide up in along the sides of the bolt here. So I want to stone the little surfaces because it rides right on up like that. Make that part smooth. So that's stoning all these sides here. I did the parts that anywhere it makes contact with the metal. I didn't mess around with the top. Actually, that seemed to be pretty good. But I did that on this side and this side. Again, you can see conservative. I'm leaving, but I'm taking the high spots down a little bit, and I figure by doing that I'm increasing the amount of surface area that can be holding oil and letting it slide. I even took this little pin out there and gave that a little bit of wet sanding with 600 grit. That's the finest sandpaper I had. What else here? On the slide here, I took these stones and I just took the edge and just ran it up along these rails a little bit like that, just taking off any high spots along the sides here, you know, underneath there, just getting any high spots off and any possible burrs off there. And I definitely worked these a little bit, making sure that I smooth them off as well as I could with that very fine block there. So you know, there's a lot of, took a little while actually, but I think I'm hoping when I put it together it'll be a better gun, and hopefully it's not going to be a worse gun. Even this ejector, I took that rod and ran some 600 grit paper over that just to make sure that's smooth. Want everything to be the least resistance possible for when I'm cycling the action on this gun. So you can see basically that's the kind of stuff that was involved here, and we'll have to see how this goes, I guess. Maybe I'll make another video when I get this thing back together. If I'm not too happy with it when I put it back together and it's not much of an improvement, maybe there won't be another video on this. But I figure this is not the most expensive rifle in the world, and if I want to kind of develop some gunsmithing skills, maybe this is a good one to try on. So it's so rough to begin with and such a hard action to work. I almost have nothing to lose. So maybe in some ways this little Rossi is the perfect little gun to start on, and maybe leading to better things in the future. So thanks for watching.